Yeah, like talking about filler words and crutch words, you know? That's so hard to actually do. Hey, but seriously, today we are talking about crutch words and filler words and 3 tips and some subpoints on how you can help yourself stop saying them, or at least stop saying them on accident. Mug of the day. Now, that's not actually Starbucks coffee, that's for anybody who can recognize. Battlestar Galactica. My brother gave that to me. Thanks, bro. It's nighttime, so that's actually water, not coffee. I'm trying to stay hydrated. Moving right in. Crutch words and filler words. We're talking about the ums, the ahs, the ers, the whatevers, so's, likes, you name it. If it's one of those little gap fillers in your speech, that's what we're talking about. A couple interesting points. Men are 38% more likely to use these sorts of fillers than women, and younger people are a lot more likely than older people to use them. I don't know if that is because of culture or because of experience or a combination or what have you. When we're talking about these filler words and trying to correct our speech patterns or change the way that we use them, at least, the first thing that you need to do is recognize the when and the where and the why you are using them. Are you using them because you're nervous? Are you using them because you're just trying to gather your thoughts again? Are you using them only when you're standing in front of people? Are you like me and you use them more when you're on camera? The easiest way that I've found to sort of recognize this or to get this information is to either record yourself or to have a friend or family member sort of raise their hand or something every time that you're saying, one of these words. Have them listen very closely. Once you analyze this information, then you can start taking steps to correct it. Now, I've done research over about a week now on trying to figure this out for myself as I've been watching back some of my older vlogs. I would like to get better at it, so hopefully this is helpful to you. I think that it will be. It's been helpful for me, and I'm trying really hard in this video to do it right. So with that, we'll move on to the 3 corrections and sort of the subpoints that you can start taking, 3 steps you can start taking to become better at this. The first is to just be comfortable with silence. Be comfortable with taking a pause. In this media-saturated, just sound coming at you all the time, sort of urban culture that we live in, silence is not something that we're really used to or that comfortable with. In your speaking, it's something that can be useful. It's something that can make you sound more intelligent, or at least like you're thinking deeply, or that you have important things to say. People will sit up and take more attention, pay more attention. By using pauses strategically, you can work your way through an idea, take a pause, reassess, or ground yourself for the next point coming. And that sort of goes with the next point here in just a second. But most of us, or I should say all of us, think faster than we speak, and sometimes that can get us in trouble because we're thinking of so many different things. At least I know in my case, I'm sort of scattered and going all sorts of different ways. Taking the time to just pause, gather those thoughts, and move on will help those points sound more, will help those ideas sound more pointed, or what you're saying more important, because you're not trying to just wiggle your way in there with these filler words. You're just making that point cut and dried, and you sound more authoritative, or like I said, you're thinking deeply, things like that. Second point, or second tip, is to prepare. There's a couple ways you can do this, so I'll go through some subpoints. By preparing ahead of time, whether it's just writing out a list of notes, and that's actually why I keep glancing just right over here, bullet points, or writing out exactly what you're going to say, memorizing, there's all sorts of different tips. I'm not really going to go in depth there, but preparing ahead of time will give you that confidence that you know what you're going to say. The first sort of subpoint in preparing is to chunk your info. So just like in high school writing class, we're talking about paragraphs, one line of thought. Get through that, take that strategic pause, and move on to the next one. Not only does that give you time to regain your thoughts, it also gives the listeners or the viewers time to adjust and move to that next thought. So they've stopped thinking about the first one and they're ready to listen to the second one. Sorry if the lighting just shifted on you. That light just went out. I don't know why. It's working again. Moving on, which is kind of to my next point. So under preparation, under chunking that information out into parcels, you want to pre-plan your transitions. So this could be some sort of segue between those ideas, whether it's a next or a secondly or a in conclusion. Any of those sort of phrases or keywords you can use to transition. Take your time to move from one idea to another, regather your thoughts. It also clues your audience in to pay attention. If they've been starting to fade and not pay attention, those, we're conditioned for those key phrases or words to pay attention again. The third sub-point, speaking of pre-planning transitions, is to tell a story. When you're preparing your information, and I don't mean necessarily when I was 5, I went hiking and I learned this or whatever. What I mean by telling a story is finding some sort of an arc, whether that's just bringing that initial idea back around, sort of bookending it, it's actually telling a story, or just, we're all used to seeing some of these vloggers that go outside or whatever and they're moving through their day, just using little bits of B-roll as those transitionary periods, and they're telling a story because they're doing something throughout the whole day, and we're interested because we want to see where they go next. And it's creating engaging content. So you're creating engaging content by telling some sort of a story. I'm using air quotes because that's kind of a loose term. You're moving them from one place to another in your speech, and they're not going to be paying as close of attention to exactly how you say it. They're more interested in the overall arc and not in each word that you're using. The third main point or main tip is to establish rapport. The way that you would do this in a public speaking setting, a live speaking setting, is that you would establish or you would make eye contact with different people throughout the crowd. Not only are they feeling like you're talking to them, and so they're likely to be more engaged, and going back to that last point, paying less attention to every single word and more about your big idea. It's not just establishing rapport with them, but you're focusing down on, these are people that I'm talking to, and you're more likely, instead of sort of this big overall, stadium or whatever, if you're talking to a stadium and you're watching me, welcome, that's pretty exciting. You're keying in on people, and so that's sort of a trick. It's hard when you're vlogging or talking through a lens, a camera, coming up on a screen. What I've been trying to do to pay more attention and make quote unquote eye contact with you, thinking of this lens like a person's eye or a person's face, it's allowing me to engage in a way where I feel like I'm having a conversation with somebody rather than sort of projecting out and just to a faceless ether. You're also building confidence. So instead of having that faceless ether out there, by talking to somebody, you're establishing that relationship or that rapport, you're building your own confidence and you're building people's confidence in you. I would be really interested to hear if you have any other ideas or any other tips or suggestions on breaking out of a filler crutch word habit. Something that I did find reading some of these articles and scholarly information is that actually once you break this habit, that peppering in a few of these on purpose strategically could make you sound like you're really considering what you're going to say next. If you're not just accidentally saying them all the time, then the on purpose one will clue that audience or clue the listener into what you're about to say next, because it's sort of a rare occurrence. But that's the key, is that it should be rare. You have to use them strategically. So once you break the habit, you can start to pepper them back in and use them to your advantage. Hopefully this information has been helpful to you. I think it is. It's been helpful for me. If you have any more suggestions on sort of these ideas or tips on how to break this habit of using crutch or filler words, the ums, the ahs, the likes, the knows, anyone that you could think of. I just said again. I would love to hear them. Go ahead and drop those in the comments. I think they would be helpful for me. Hopefully they'll be helpful for other people when we sort of build that conversation around that. I would also love that thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe. This channel is about the creative process and video craft and living life, taking those small steps incrementally each day to just become better and help other people become better. And so I would love if you just came on this journey with me and hit that bell to get notified each time I upload another video. That's really all I had today, guys. And with that, I'll see y'all tomorrow once again.